Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Narcissists, transformational coach at End of Mileage, where we help folks become aware of the hidden icebergs within them so they can remove them and live happy, resonant lives right here, heaven on earth. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about why you should never tip off a narcissist once you're onto them. It's the power of silent strategy. Why you should, as much as possible, never tip off a narcissist once you're onto them. This is the power of silent strategy. So the moment you realize you're dealing with a narcissist, your first instinct might be to confront them, to call them out. Aha, I know who you are. I know your tricks. I know what you've been doing. To force accountability. Can you change? Will this change? Will this get better? Because you want justice, you want closure, or even an admission of guilt. But I'm here to tell you, it's probably one of the worst moves you could make. You've just stepped onto a battlefield where your best weapon isn't attack, it's silence, observation, and strategic action. Not in every case, but in most cases. Because the second a narcissist knows you're onto them, they evolve, they shift strategies, they change tactics. And worst of all, they may even become dangerous, very unpredictable. So today we're going to go deep into this, where we break down the strategy, the science, and the insights behind why you must be very careful or mindful, or if possible, never tip off a narcissist when you're with them, onto them. Hang on, because this noise can mean the difference between reclaiming your power or being sat back into manipulation. So let's get into it. Why does tipping off a narcissist backfire? Well, let's go into the details. You see, escaping narcissistic abuse or removing yourself from a narcissistic paradigm, or if you've been discarded, extricating your energy from it, is like a game of strategy, because that's exactly what it is. Sun Tzu famously said in The Art of War that all warfare is based on deception. And narcissists live by this principle. The moment you let them know you've cracked their code, they rewrite it. See? So let's talk about some adaptability case studies. So there's a study by a researcher called Robert Hare, who found that manipulative individuals have an uncanny ability to detect shifts in power dynamics and recalibrate their behavior. See? Then there's this notion of the chameleon effect. In psychology, there's this discovery based on research that shows that narcissists are social chameleons. They do that by mimicking and adapting to regain control. And third, another case study of the adaptability of narcissists is related to mirroring and gaslighting 2.0. So narcissists don't just shift tactics, they upgrade. They refine their manipulation once exposed. Think of it like using artificial intelligence. Every time you give the narcissist new data, every time they sense you're exposed, they rewrite the script. Just like with AI, you prompt engineer and it shifts, and you add more data, it shifts. So what is the neuroscience behind this adaptability? There's more evidence. And here we borrow from brain science and neuroscience. Studies here show that narcissists operate with an overactive amygdala, the fear center, meaning they are hyper-reactive to threats, especially to their ego. Their prefrontal cortex, which governs logical thinking and self-awareness, is often underdeveloped or doesn't function at an optimal level. And when you mix these two factors together, it creates a dangerous mix: high emotional reactivity, low impulse control. Therefore, when they sense a loss of control, their brain triggers defensive survival mechanisms. It's very important. This results in things like narcissistic rage, smear campaigns, gaslighting on many levels, and even love bombing. because they actually recycle their tactics in more sophisticated ways. Studies in neuroplasticity show that repeated exposure to narcissistic behavior strengthens their manipulation skills. So what does this mean for you? It means that exposing them doesn't weaken them. It gives them more material to work with. It makes them more sophisticated, in fact. So let's keep exploring this with more science. One of the most powerful forces in the universe is momentum, at least born from physics. And in physics, an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. But here's where most people fail. They act too soon, show their hand, and they disrupt the natural unraveling of the narcissist's illusions. In other words, if you observe first without reacting, the narcissist will continue their old pattern, believing they still have control. And this is where their strategy becomes unpredictable. And predictable enemies are defeatable enemies. From a spiritual perspective, there's a reason why every great spiritual system emphasizes silent awareness before action. In the Buddhist Dharma, for example, mindfulness is about witnessing reality without attachment. In the Tao or Taoism, Wu Wei teaches effortless action, acting without forcing. And even in Hermetic principles, the all is mind reminds us that true power comes from perception first. So the Buddhist insight has this concept of Upaya, meaning being skillful, i.e., you don't fight force with force, you redirect it. Upaya, in the language of the Buddha Pali. In Hermeticism or Hermetic principles, there's this principle of the law of polarity, which says opposites exist within the same spectrum. If you swing one way too hard, expect the narcissist to swing back. So in spirituality and warfare, the most dangerous adversary isn't the one who fights back, it's the one who watches, waits, and only moves when the time is right. And it's important to realize the efficacy of this approach because the narcissist does everything they do to destabilize you so you react. And from that reaction, they have data. And in that data, they become smarter at keeping you under the spell that they have you under, this spiritual slavery, this narcissistic spell. So true wisdom, regardless of how painful your experiences are, and dealing with narcissists is the most painful, most difficult, most unpleasant, demonic, dark experience that a human can have. And when you come to this recognition of the truth of what you're dealing with, is to become more observant and gather more data and trust your wisdom. The wisdom that comes from being able to observe with detachment. And I know this is very difficult to do. And if it sounds like you're grappling with this, type transform in the comment section and let us know some of the challenges that you've engaged with whilst trying to overcome a narcissist. So in conclusion, this is about how you play the long game with a narcissist. And some tips to do so include staying neutral or gray rocking. In other words, no emotional responses. If you're in the mood, you can mirror their tactics without engagement. In other words, if they breadcrumb you, you ghost them. If they gaslight you, you gray rock. That's mirroring without attachment because you're wiser. Observe their patterns, keep a journal, see where they go next, let them reveal their hand. And if this is available to you, exit without warning. If you leave suddenly and strategically, they don't have time to sabotage you. And this helps you correct and control the narrative, assuming that they will launch a smear campaign. Therefore, launching counter seats early, if possible, helps. If you're ready to outmaneuver, outthink, and outgrow narcissistic abuse, we're here to help you to deal with this from a psychological, spiritual, and strategic perspective. Because true power isn't about confrontation, it's about mastery. And mastery means never letting them see your next move. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. And see you next time. Peace.